Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a minute. The Stronger Together and Overcome podcast with Josh and our boy Jared.
We back.
How's everybody doing?
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time.
6,000 minutes maybe.
Sorry about that. We had good intentions and then life gets busy, but here we are. We have a topic for you guys today. As experts in the fitness industry, we want to talk a little bit about the victim mentality.
We encounter it, I think it's fair to say, on the daily. It's tough, and it's one that I think, what's the best way to put it? I think society nourishes it a little bit and almost, I don't want to use the term encourages it, but almost encourages it to the point where it's like, hey, it's okay, you're a victim of this or this circumstance or whatever label they want to put on it. Mm-hmm. So it makes it harder to maybe adapt and overcome because society says like, it's okay, just like lay down and wait for the hard times to pass.
Yeah, I mean, we see it in like the faith community, obviously, that a lot of you guys are part of. We see it in the fitness community where I am this way because of X, Y, or Z, right? It's like, I had a tough upbringing, so therefore I act this way, right? I was victimized, I went through this, so therefore I make excuses for my behavior.
Right. Which is almost defeating of the purpose, because instead of becoming more resilient or more adaptable or leveling yourself up, you just lay down and say, I can't because.
Right.
So instead of even giving yourself the opportunity to look at it as growth potential or something to elevate and become greater than, you just lay down and die sort of thing, because you're a victim of your circumstance or your upbringing or your current situation,
for sure,
etc., etc.
And I think like we don't want to minimize, right, the experiences that we've been through. We don't want to come to that place where, you know, you went through this traumatic experience as a child, or you had problems with your parents, or you didn't have parents, or whatever the situation is. We don't want to minimize what's happened to us in life, but we got to figure out a way how to look at those situations, see them for what they are, and embrace the strength of you know, being okay with the things that we've been through, in the sense of, where do we go from here? So this happened to me and it was terrible. Okay, let's acknowledge it, let's talk about it, let's not cover it up. But then what's the strategy, right? Where do we go from there?
Yeah, your feelings are valid and you're allowed to have them, but don't let them defeat you. It's like, okay, this happened, this sucks, it was undesirable, correct. But how can you grow stronger from it? How can you become more resilient so that if you are to face this fire or this problem again in your life, you're over-prepared now because you've been forged in the fire. You're like, you know what? I've seen this playbook. I've had this problem before. I've prepped for this because I learned from my past. So I'm going to be stronger in the future for if any of these circumstances or anything happen again. It's almost a little bit laughable, and you welcome the challenge rather than be defeated by it because you've been prepping for this, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, we can make it personal, right? Like, we can look at some of the things that we've both encountered. Back in 2012, a lot of you guys know that my wife Heidi and I, we lost our first daughter. One of the most traumatic things that you can ever go through. I mean, Jared, you've been through some stuff fairly recently.
Yeah, I mean, since our last podcast, my father has passed away. So that's been an experience, because in 2019, my mother passed away. So this was just even more compounded, as we had a lot more to deal with, as it was, you know, a whole lifetime and partnership coming to a conclusion. And there's just a lot more to deal with and process at that point, when it's everything in its finality, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's something you can't be prepared for, and I'm not happy I had to go through it, but having lost my mother 6 years prior, I felt more equipped to handle the situation. It's not that I loved my father any less or that it was an easier situation, but being that I had been through that fire sort of thing, and I've dealt with that hurt and actually helped a lot of other people since 2019 that have lost their parents or a guardian or that figurehead in their life. I helped them process and navigate their feelings, and I don't want to say advise them, but just kind of gave them my tips and my tools and tricks to process and move through that. So when I did lose my father last summer, it was kind of one of those things where it was like, wow, like this is a crappy, terrible reality, but I know how to process my feelings. I know all of my feelings are valid. I know how to kind of navigate this and keep the train on the tracks. So I wouldn't say it was a better process, but I would say it was a smoother process.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. I look at, I mean, as we're recording this, I've lost two good friends to cancer in the last week. And I look back on what we dealt with our daughter Michaela, and I did not handle that season in the right ways. I turned to things that were unhealthy, turned to, alcohol to numb the problem, turned to some other stuff that wasn't beneficial. But having gone through that season, we learn, we grow, and having gone, sitting with a friend in the hospital over the last week, having been through something so traumatic prior to this, in a sense prepared me for, like you said, it's not an easy thing, but it was smoother. Right. I wasn't overcome. Instead it was like, this is horrible, but how do we go about dealing with this? How do we move forward through this? And right. So what we're trying to do is give people the abilities and the tools to be able to move forward through the difficult things in life. We talked a little bit this morning. It's easy when something bad happens to kind of retreat, and it's easy to pull the blankets over your head, stay in bed, maybe binge watch some Netflix, have a carton of ice cream. But how do we develop healthy methods to deal with difficult things?
Right. And I mean, just looking at Josh being here today and speaking today when he lost a good friend of his just last night is pretty inspiring to me, to know that like it's bigger than you or I. Like he could have easily said, hey man, I'm not up to this today. I'm just not in a good headspace. I had a terrible night's sleep, and use everything to be a victim. He's a victim of his life and his happenings and unfortunate circumstances and whatever the excuse is. But at the end of the day, his friend that he just lost would love nothing more than more days to be out there and live his life. So what is Josh going to do? He's going to show up. He's going to live his life. He's going to honor that person by not being a victim, by using that to grow, to still challenge him to show up. Like, is today easy? Probably not. But do you know what you grow from? You grow from hard. You evolve from hard. He's doing hard things. We had a planned workout early this morning. He still shows up early this morning to hit our workout. He goes through it. He pays his dues. He does the things that he has to do to stay true to him, to honor himself, to honor his friend, and to inspire without thinking like, oh, I'm going to be a big inspirational character today. He just shows up and does what he needs to do regardless. And it doesn't need to come off insensitive, but the world doesn't care about your feelings. We all have problems. We all have issues, which are genuinely unique to ourselves and our own lives and whatever situation or season we are in our lives. But Josh's friend passing away, who God rest his soul, I didn't know him, doesn't affect my life today. And I don't mean that to be crappy or be insensitive, but the world keeps spinning. And like, even though Josh is dealing with that and grieving and processing in his own way, businesses are going to open today because they need to make money. The world's going to keep running because it needs to do what it needs to do. It doesn't care about your feelings.
I still have a wife. I still have kids. I still have responsibilities. I had a client, right? An online client who's like, should we cancel? I was like, absolutely not. She's like,
right.
Should we? I mean, you're hurting. I was like, yeah, I'm hurting. I didn't sleep. Like, I'm not crying. You're crying right now. But like, I'm still going to show up because there's other people
Right.
that need me to show up. And I feel like we've gone to this place, we talk about this a lot in our coaching sessions, is we've come to this place in society where it's easy just to feel bad for yourself, and you put yourself in the doghouse, and you just, life is hard, so I'm going to stay in bed and I'm not going to face the difficult things. But there's people out there that are relying on us and that are relying on you to get up and to do hard things.
It's bigger than you. Like, there is a bigger force at work. You affect so many more things than you probably realize. There's a lot of things that depend on you on the daily, regardless of your responsibilities. So you retreating and you pulling back actually throws a lot of other things out of whack. So you have to remember that, like, it is bigger than you and you are part of something greater. And the whole is a sum of all of its parts. And you need to play your part and be your part. Like, one thing I constantly reference and tell my clients is, like, this too shall pass sort of thing. There's going to be many storms, okay? Do you know the quickest way for a storm to pass is to go through it, because there's good on the other side, and it's going to make you stronger and more resilient. So instead of retreating and running and having that storm travel with you, where you stay in the storm and the problem is bigger for a longer period of time, face it head on.
Yeah.
Just deal with it, communicate it, ask for help, but deal with it head on the best you can, and it will pass and you will be better for it, rather than running and being scared of it the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Jared a little bit this morning for the faith people in here. I know not everybody's faith-based, that's fine. Is, you know, the story of David and Goliath is, you know, the Israelites are facing this Philistine army, and nobody wants to go fight this big scary dude. He's standing in this valley and he's calling everybody out. And then this young boy named David comes on set, and he's just like, what's going on here? How come this guy's yelling at us? We've got this enemy, this storm, this thing we're facing in life right now, and it's calling us out. Why is nobody standing up to this thing? And it's interesting because the king, his name's Saul, he looks at David and he's like, well, you're just a young boy. Like, what are you going to do? And David's like, what are you talking about? I've already faced giants in my life. I've already faced bears. I've already faced lions. He's a shepherd, right? And so to him, he's like, you know, I'm going to go with God and I'm going to face this thing. So instead of hiding away and being that victim, like Jared said, let's get into the world and let's face the difficult things. It doesn't make you insensitive. It doesn't make you, you know, weak or anything like that. It means that you know that you have work to do and there's people out there that we got to help. Right? So what would you say are some tangible steps for people to avoid the victim mentality?
I think welcoming challenge. So many of us think like, oh man, my life is hard and I can't believe this happened to me and this is going to be so difficult for me to overcome. And it's like, good, that's perfect, because now it's growth season. How are you going to be better? How are you going to overcome this problem? What are you going to do to level yourself up?
You know, this world needs leaders.
Big time.
It needs people that are going to stand up in the face of difficult things and be strong, right? And it can start small, right? Getting out of the victim mentality. It could be something as simple as refusing to hit the snooze button in the morning.
There you go.
Right? I'm not hitting the snooze button 15 times today. When my alarm clock goes off at 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, I'm actually going to get up. I'm going to put my feet on the floor. Maybe I'm going to make my bed. A big guy that I look to, his name's Jocko Willink. He's a retired Navy SEAL. And one of the things that he always said was, when I got up in the morning, I made sure that I made my bed. That was step one. That was my victory of the day. I didn't hit the snooze button. I made my bed. I'm starting off with some wins, and then let's build some more wins.
Right. One of the things I try to remind myself or do on the daily when I wake up, if I don't verbalize it to my wife, I think in my head, what can I do to make her day easier? Like, what's one simple thing I can take off her plate that's going to be a relief or give her some sort of good feeling, so that, you know, she's got a list of things to do and she's a very busy woman. But if there's that one thing that she expects she has to do, and then when she comes around, she realizes it's already dead or done, taken care of, she has that little bit extra in her cup now, and that little burst of energy that she wants to pour into our son or into me. So it gives us an extra little bit of time to connect and honor and cherish each other, because I had that one inclination to say, hey, how can I make your day better?
So what you're saying is, a step to get out of the victim mentality is to start thinking of others.
Oh, almost like if we raise other people up, we also elevate with them.
That's
Which
good stuff.
I think this is kind of diverting into another topic we'll likely cover another day. But the world right now is me for me, which is, it's very sad to see, because like I just said, if I help Josh level up, I also level up. Like, we rise together. So why wouldn't I want to see him elevate and win when I know it's going to be reciprocated and it's going to elevate my position too? Rather than like, oh, maybe if Josh isn't paying attention and he's got his back turned, I can take a little bit off his plate and it's going to benefit me more while pushing him down. That's not going to help me.
Nope.
That's not going to elevate us. But that's almost, again, another way society is kind of deviating and changing right now, is everybody's in it for themselves and there isn't that sense of camaraderie or community as much.
Yeah, that sense of being stronger together, right? Like, you can climb that ladder of success that you hear out in the world, that you do you know, if you need to climb the ladder, step on people's heads as you go, but it's going to be pretty lonely at the top.
Right? Yeah, you look over your shoulder and there's nobody else there.
You might get there, you might get the millions and the nice things and whatever else, but if there's nobody to look around, it's like that song, Humble and Kind, right? When you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around. Well, if there's nobody there, that's going to be a tough way to go through life, right?
What's it all worth at the end?
Whereas if we all, you know, stronger together, if we all climb together, if we all face challenges together, if we all grow together, it just makes the world a better place.
That's right. When you stack up your wins and you have a mountain of people, family, friends there with you to celebrate at the peak, at the summit, that you all won together and you're all in the same position together, it's a lot more of that complete full feeling than being up there at the top to be like, hey, isn't this view amazing? Oh, there's nobody here to share it with. I feel that diminishes its return a little bit.
And we've both been in situations, you know, in the past, especially in our work experience, where we've been in these communities where it's me first and we're done with that mentality. It's just like, no, let's grow together. Let's get stronger together. Let's face dark challenges like what we've been going through with our friends and their cancer battles and stuff. If we face these things together, we're so much better off. And I guess just to tidy up and to finish off our session here today, what are some things that people can do today? Like right now?
I think kind of just as we've mentioned a few times, like beyond how can you help your community, like how can you help your house? How can you benefit those around you so that they feel better and more taken care of and less likely to lean into that victim mentality? And then, as I mentioned, their cup is going to have more to pour over and alleviate yours, which then is going to be that cascade effect of now you probably feel less like a victim because you don't feel so alone and you don't feel like all your problems are so heavy and hard.
Nice. So, homework for you. Go make somebody's day better today. I don't know what that looks like for you. Maybe it's you buy somebody a coffee. Maybe you give somebody a hug. Maybe there's somebody on your mind today that's popped up there for a reason. Maybe you need to make contact with that person today. Maybe it's a person that, you know, has kind of been sitting there in your thoughts. Maybe today is the day that you finally reach out and have that conversation. Do the difficult things.
Yeah.
Don't take the easy path. Don't take that victim mentality road where, you know, everybody's out to get me and woe is me and all that stuff. We'll get into this in later episodes here. We'll try to make them more frequent, but the importance of those you surround yourself with, we'll get into that as well.
Yeah.
So make somebody else's day better. Surround yourselves with people that are going to build you up, not tear you down. And anything to add to that?
A little bit of homework from my end.
Yeah.
tell 2 people that you care about them or you love them. Because that doesn't happen enough. And even though we assume or we think it, it's very nice to hear it. Maybe an old friend that you haven't connected with in a while. Maybe it's even your spouse.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you just don't verbalize it enough and like you just assume they know.
Yeah.
But it's gonna recharge that person a little bit to be like, hey man, I miss you, haven't seen you for a long time. I care about you, just thinking about you. Let me know if you need anything. Letting somebody know they have that level of support, or telling your spouse, like, I cherish you, I love you, I appreciate you, is bigger than you realize, and it doesn't just go unsaid.
So good. What we want you to do then is, after you've done your homework, put it in the comments. We want to hear from you. We want to know about your experiences. And until then, keep going, you guys. You're warriors. Don't be victims.
Overcome.
Overcome. Go make somebody else's day better. And we'll see you next time. Take care.